In March 2016, an American student died in Russia in a village called Arshan. I personally knew Colin and I studied in the same university as he, and I wanted him to be my friend, but he stopped writing me at some point. And the last time I saw him in the center of the city and he wore a very light jacket. Please remember that because now we will discuss all theories about his death. It provoked a lot of conspiracy, and what happened? He left the cottage house in a village before hiking and never came back. So his body was found deep in the forest. What could happen? The first version of events came from the local police. They said his friends killed him, but that made no sense. It's just how local police works. They often suspect friends and acquaintances because in most cases they did crimes, at least in a village. But this made people think that it's sort of covering up. No, it's very unlikely that local police covered something up. They are not so complicated. But what's possible? Foul play. Family of Colin believes in that. But in reality, there are no visible injuries if we believe the local lab and like local authorities, and actually no robbery. His phone, his money were with him. So some people say maybe it's sort of random, just unplanned killing, but people, even the drunkards, are quite friendly and towards foreigners and locals. There are not a big chance that in a touristic place called Arshan it's possible to meet a real killer. But the nature is very tough. So, for example, for killers, it's not possible to use a car to put the body somewhere deep in the forest, and because it's full of logs and rocks there. Some people ask why the boots of Colin were unlaced. Maybe it was because hypothermia, as actually the analysis showed results. Yes, so he lost a lot of temperature, a lot of heat, and his glycogen in his body was very low, showing this body struggled against the cold. And it was very cold. It was like 1 or 2 Celsius degree, or even minus. Some snow were around in the forest. So the death of cold is very probable, but for killing you take a lot of things to meet people in a dead forest, to make them people aggressive. Colin definitely was not a gay, as some rumors say. Colin was not like a junkie. I don't believe he used drugs or something. I don't believe it was a conscious suicide or something like that. But very probably he just went for a toilet or for a short walk, warm up before the hiking, and then suddenly got in something like that very dead forest in a gloom where you don't know where to go, and it's very, very dangerous and hard. Obviously, some so-called experts say that he was bondage with rope, or you can find some injuries on his body, but so-called expert Ekelboom, who said about that, he never did his own DNA analysis or something like that. He just used the material from Russia, and in the end he even lost his license because right, he did something very, very wrong in other of his scandal cases. And then, do you think that Russians not do conspiracy too? Yes, they do. For example, about spiritual magic and spirits who killed Colin, and that all the crime was something connected to a mysteries of Roshan, but it doesn't make any sense. So this horse was dedicated to Colin somewhere on Baikal, and actually, as you see from the comments, his memory of Collins lives in these discussions. What happened to him? I can tell you a lot of stories about people who died because of nature in my region on the Lake Baikal. For example, this is Перевал Дятлова, like Peak of Dyatlov, local case of Korovina and her tour group, and they died, all of them, just because some horrible weather condition. Again, I think that naturally we want to find an extraordinary explanations for the tragic death of such a young guy, friendly in such an exotic, distant place. And the case of him, I think, is just what we want to believe, but it makes more sense when it's simple. Because again, statistics show that most of such cases it's about weather, wild nature. Again, it's just my subjective opinion, but I want to counter the ideas of foul play. It's essential to acknowledge that nature in its cruelty played a big role in tragic end of many people, and I wish you guys be safe and careful in nature. And again, because it's just my opinion, I could make a mistake, but again, even from what I know about the region, about the nature of the region, about Collin, about local like officials, I don't find that it could be any coverage, that any hashing, hiding up the truth. I don't see any point of that. Thank you for listening me. It's just I did it in memory of Colin because he was a very very friendly and nice guy, and I'm sorry that all of that happened